Welcome to the Lost Vet podcast, where we are helping you to get back to your passion and purpose. I'm your host, Dr. Melody Chan, and in today's episode of Destination People, Laura Omand walks us through the process of what it was like to pitch the idea of creating team leads to the veterinary owners in this multi-location, 70-employee veterinary practice, and then the process that came after in creating these teams and choosing team leads. Have a listen. Welcome back to the pod, Laura. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much. Happy to be back.
So one of the ideas I wanted to dive in deeper with you on is this idea of creating team leads in a veterinary practice, because we often hear about having a practice manager and maybe a veterinary team medical lead, but the rest of it sometimes is just left up to, well, somebody more senior looks after it, and maybe it will be looked after, but if something needs to be done, we can always ask the practice manager, and that doesn't always work that well.
That is right.
Yeah. And so I think this is a bit of that build on from one of our previous conversations where you realized you needed to delegate and maybe not be everything everywhere all at once. And so I'd love to hear your story of where you evolved from there with the different teams in your multi-location 70 employee veterinary business.
Sure. Yes, of course. I think the first time I heard about team leads was one of the veterinary communities that I'm in. One of our kind of open discussions we had was on, how we're doing training, recruitment, things like that. Mm-hmm. And one of the other practice managers that was there was talking about how their team leads took part in that. And I'm like, team lead, what is that? Like, what are the responsibilities of that person, and who is that person? So we actually talked after that CE one-on-one, and I kind of got a better idea of like, what is a team lead? Mm-hmm. And to me, it was an employee, and it can be in any role, but they were kind of a go-to person that the team trusted and knew that they could go to with questions. So it didn't even have to be a concern, but sometimes questions to, maybe confirm that they're following a procedure correctly. Sometimes concerns, or, when things go wrong, who are those people out there that can help us if this is the first time, the blood machine's down today? What the heck do I do? Right? Things like that. So that's kind of where the name and what that person could look like first registered with me. And then I think where it fell into place was when I kind of first understood that I was the problem, the fork in the road, as we said. It was like, okay, how do I move forward from here? Recognizing I'm one person, we have a large team. I don't want to be a roadblock for any of our team. You do have people already coming to me with concerns, questions, things like that. My concern was always who's out there that wasn't. Who are we missing? Who are people thinking, she's too busy, I'll just figure it out myself, or I won't even bring it up. So it was kind of like, oh wow, like it really started clicking. Like I think we need to build a team. We're multi-locations. I physically can't be all three places at once. We have a large tech team. We have a large CCR team. Those teams have to work independently, but also have to work very closely together to get through the day. And just that word team, right? Like we are a clinic that really put teamwork into our everyday, and we value each role to get to where we need to go to get all the things completed. And so it just really started to resonate with me that maybe this is the channel we need to go down. I had kind of already in my head out of our teams who I really, really felt were good in those roles. Like, these people have to be approachable and trusted by the team. So kind of like, what does that person have to embody to be a team lead? And it didn't always fall to seniority for me. It was really, for me, the biggest buy-in was the team itself. So yes, I made a list of who I kind of thought would be great in those roles. But for me, I wanted the team to be part of electing these people that they
Mm.
kind of already see in those roles, because if I have their buy-in and they trust these people, I know they're going to utilize them in those roles. So that was also kind of part of creating our team leads.
And so I heard you have a veterinary technologist team. That's one
We
set.
do. Yes.
And
Yeah.
then the CCR, is that the client care relations team?
Client care representatives. Yes. Yep.
Okay,
So
client care representatives.
yep. So I have four technician team leads, and we have three client care team leads. And then for myself, knowing that I needed to be able to delegate some of my responsibilities, that's also where we created the hospital administrator role. So someone that worked very closely one-on-one for me, that I could delegate some of my tasks to, that but also be that person that can meet with me, know where we're going, understand how sometimes how I think, what I feel, and be able to roll with it from there.
And so how many hospital admin team leads do you have?
I have one hospital admin that
The
works
one.
directly with me. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. And so, and walk me through that process then of
For sure.
rolling out this idea that you're thinking, okay, I think this is a good one. I think
Yeah.
this will help me. And then walk me through that process of rolling it out
I
to
knew
your
I
team
knew
members.
I knew it wouldn't be easy, because change is hard for all of us, right? And again, I worked at a practice that worked how we function for all the years that I'd been there. So this would be a big change, and then understanding, like, well, what does it look like, and what is our why? Like, why are we doing this? What is the benefit? What is, what's the negative to it? All those things. So for me, it was getting the buy-in of the ownership first. So
Hmm.
I literally remember creating a PowerPoint presentation of kind of my vision, so I can get it out on paper and share, and really truly have them understand why I felt this would be valuable and really helpful for not only me, but our entire practice, so we can function better. So again, it's like some of the responsibilities they would have. So again, it's like they're kind of my boots on the ground. They're in those roles every day of technician or client care. They are probably even better than me going to recognize, where our challenges are, where roadblocks are, where we need to, get better at, what are we already doing well, all those things. So having those people that, work closely with me are going to be so valuable, as well as the team. So in the moment something happens, they have more resources that they can go to. I'm still a resource. I never went away. We just added to the team. So knowing that these people are working right side by side together, and that they can go to with questions, concerns, in the moment. So there's not that delay, because again, I felt like I was really that block of, like, all the things were coming to me, and I could only pump out so much in a day. So sometimes
Hmm.
there's a delay from when I'm first made aware of something to when I can actually do something about it. So I really wanted to reduce that time and that negative impact of those things as well. Also, I look at, in veterinary practice, like, how do we keep our team engaged? How do we give them, like, what were we currently giving them as a journey for themselves? Like, how are they constantly kind of climbing that ladder, being challenged? And we didn't really maybe have that structure. And not everybody wants to go into management or leadership, and that's okay. But for those that have interest in it, that really excel, I wanted to have that journey for them, where they could kind of challenge themselves and really grow in their roles.
Hmm.
And wow, like, where we are now to see where we started, like, oh, that is just so rewarding for me, and for them to also see, where they started, and the comfort, and how they've brought these roles to life is been pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well, I think having that clear structure for somebody to know, what are my responsibilities now, what's expected of me,
Yes.
and also what else can I do if I
Yes.
want to go further. I mean, that's so
For sure.
important as well. And so how did that first pitch to the veterinary partners go for you when you had this brilliant idea that would help everybody?
It was quiet. Yeah, I remember you could hear a pin drop, right? And then I'm like, oh dear. But honestly, we had done a little bit of work with Rob at that time, so I think everybody was open to, okay, we're maybe not doing our best right now with how things are status quo. Maybe we need to be more open to what else is out there, or what things can we do internally to change to be better. So I felt that was helpful, that we had already kind of had a few of those meetings under our belt, because I remember one of our partners being usually the strongest voice in the room, being very pro and really embraced it, and
Mm,
that was hugely and powerful for me, that they would trust this, but it also helped get others on board that maybe were sitting on the fence of like, oh, I'm not too sure, this is a big change, like what if it fails. And I think, as a team ourselves, I think being just open and honest with our own vet team, that this is something new we want to try, and it might not give us the desired results, and we're okay with that, and if we have to stop and reassess, we will do that. So
yeah.
almost kind of giving us permission to be able to do something different, but realize that it might not have the desired result, but we're not going to know if we don't try. And I think that was the biggest selling feature of like, look at like, just be with me here, like trust me for this, but I if it's going to have a negative impact, we're not going to continue it, right?
Yeah.
And I truly believe that, and it was unanimous. Like I got the unanimous vote out of our partnership to work it through, and that was the first huge step, which was great. The next was going to the team, with the idea, where I had to be very, very vulnerable. I had to let them know kind of like where I felt my challenges were at the time, and that I truly felt I was letting the team down, that I couldn't be everything and every to everybody at the same
Yeah.
time. And that's not possible for anybody. So having a very, vulnerable, truthful conversation at a team meeting with them about that, and then sharing the idea of like, this is what I've put some thought into, this is how I think it will improve things, having more people in our day-to-day life that are working right next to you, that you can go to, you can approach, you can bring your ideas, your thoughts, your concerns to, and I wanted them to be part of choosing those leaders. So part of the process was, if there was someone that was very, very passionate about it, that thought they would want to give it a try, they could put their name in the hat. The other part was, I wanted our team to be able to select somebody and bring that to me, and then I would go to that person to be like, hey, someone nominated you, would you be interested? So our team really liked that idea, that they had some control here, they could put some thought into this, because that's really half the battle. If our team doesn't see this person as someone that they can trust and be vulnerable with, and that they maybe naturally have some leadership skills that they are
Hmm.
going to build on, it wasn't going to work.
And so, how did that process work? Just to dive a little more deeper into the granular of the how.
Of
So, it
course.
sounds like for the teams, if you were interested, they could put their name forward to you.
Yes.
And
Yep.
then also, members of the team could also nominate people that they thought and just bring that name to you as well.
For sure. Yes. Everything was done via email. So no one had to, or we sent out a form so they could be unanimous as well if people didn't want their name attached to it, which was fine. And then we went through all the nominations, and I approached those team members to see if there was interest. I also approached the team members that kind of were on my list as those ones that I felt would be and already demonstrate some of those values that we want in that person in that role.
Hmm.
And kind of funny or not, the people on my list were the exact people our team nominated. So for me, that again, that just went together so well. And I think for me, approaching people, not everybody was thinking about that, or if they thought about it, they were kind of like, oh, I don't know if the team would see me in that. So that being able
Yep.
to tell them that their team saw that in them, I think really kind of kick-started that for some that maybe were doubting themselves, that shouldn't have been, because their team
Yeah.
saw them in those light. So that was pretty cool too, to be able to share that.
And so how did was it you and the vet partners then that made the final decisions of who would be team leads?
Yep. It was myself and my hospital admin. So we actually went through an interview process. So we actually went through and created like a little interview guide. Gave a few scenarios and asked them to try to like work through it. Okay, this is what's happened today. How would you deal with that, or how would you handle this? This employee came to you with this challenge. Take me through how would you help and support them again. So it was just kind of my way of seeing like how they are analyzing or how they problem solve right now. And it
Hmm.
wasn't that, their answers were going to be good or bad. It was just, I just wanted to see how they would like go through those challenges. So yeah, so that was really cool. We got to go through like a little bit of an interview process, and then ensure that they truly wanted their hat in the ring there for the
Yeah.
running of team lead. And then we came to kind of what we thought our numbers needed to be for a large team with multi locations. And yeah, once we went through that process, then we approached those that we thought were good fits, and there was a couple that maybe weren't the right fit at that time. With just, again, we only had a certain number we were going to take at that time, but knowing that they were interested in leadership and developing further, we were able to match them with other roles in the practice that would still give them a bit of a taste of leadership, and
Hmm.
kind of help and be able to help kind of develop them further, because our clinic's constantly changing. We have people coming and going, and babies and and all those things happening. So our current team will need to change and grow and evolve. So it's not something that will stay static.
Well, I think it's brilliant because you're also making sure people are developing themselves
Yeah.
professionally and learning new skills, and you're keeping them engaged,
Yeah.
and they're probably more likely to want to stay and actually be really helpful in the business just because
I
they're
sure hope
doing what they
so.
love
Yes,
doing.
yes, yeah, absolutely. And there are those people our team leads can reach out to, right? When we have new team members come in, like training, that's a
Hmm.
huge job. Taking a new team member and making sure we're training them, we're mentoring them, we're coaching them through all the steps, and making them feel part of the team and comfortable and in all the roles that they're going to be expected to do. So the team leads know they also have a team. It doesn't just have to fall on them, that we can engage
Yep.
others to be helpful through that.
Yep. So it sounds like it's definitely helped you as far as alleviating some of the responsibilities that you realized could be delegated elsewhere.
For
I'm
sure.
curious in rolling this out because again, this is a new idea for your practice. Your practice is the multi-location clinics. Is
Yes.
there anything in the development and rollout that you learned that you thought, okay, I do this differently next time?
Hmm. That's a really good question. Honestly, not at this point. I think the
Hmm.
hardest thing was for me in realizing we couldn't take everybody, right? So I for me, when I had to have those conversations with those that were maybe not selected at that time, I didn't want that to be demoralizing. I didn't want them to feel like now their journey at Heartland really came to a roadblock. I wanted to keep them engaged and know that this isn't no forever. It's just no for right now. But hey, if you have interest here, let's work together on, where else could we put your interests, and give you a bit more responsibility to help grow this further, knowing that there's always changes and things happening. So that for me was just hard, right? And it was a very fine line. It was something I took very seriously, that I didn't want to hurt someone that didn't get selected.
Mm-hmm.
I still wanted to be able to support them.
Yeah, I think that sort of key piece then what I'm hearing from you is just making sure that that you're prepared for those conversations and just making
Yes,
sure that there are other development opportunities. And it sounds like you were able
yes,
to build that in to that
yes.
process.
And they're all still with us, which I hope is good. And yes, so hopefully good. And
Yeah.
and honestly, bring value in other places in our role for sure.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, this is great. I think this gives people a new idea if they don't have team leads in their clinics right now, in seeing that possibility of how that can be a beneficial thing. So I appreciate your insights, Laura.
Thank you very much.
There's one common theme that kept repeating itself when I was listening to Laura talk about how she rolled out this idea of creating team leads for this very large multi-person, multi-location veterinary practice, and that was buy-in. She really took the time to make sure she had buy-in at all levels and at every step of the way. And so that started with the veterinary management team or the practice owners and making sure they understood the why of why she was proposing how the team leads would help them with their business and the people and keep them sustainable and viable in the future. So being really clear in your why and your objectives of why this would be a good idea was at the forefront of Laura rolling this idea out and being vulnerable and saying, I can't do it all. And this is one solution I've come up with to help the business and help all of us do better with our day to day. And then the second piece is then being vulnerable with the rest of the clinic team and all of the employees there in saying, I can't be everything to everybody. And I'm really worried about who I'm missing and who is not coming to me because maybe they perceive that I'm too busy. And so being clear with this is the idea that we have to create these team leads, and we want your input. And again, getting that buy-in and making everybody feel like they're part of that process in choosing a team lead, in the creation of something new, is so important in making sure that everybody is rowing in the same direction in this ship. So I really, really appreciated Laura's intention behind this and her approach in how she did this within the practice, and also how she was able to get support along the way to help make it a successful change within their business. Thanks for listening. Until next time.